perfect outcome to all things is assured. Yeah, perfect outcome to all things is assured. Yeah, I'm getting stronger every day because my faith leads the way. A perfect outcome to all things is assured. In every situation, there's a blessing somewhere. Come gather, brothers and sisters, and we'll see that it is there. Ooh, I need you, you need me. Yes, you do. And that's how our happiness is guaranteed. Take it, boys.
And now, in all your doings, be you blessed. Through you is ushered in a world unseen, unheard, yet truly there. Holy are you, and in your light, the world reflects your holiness. For you are not alone and friendless. I give thanks for you and join your efforts on behalf of God, knowing that they are on my behalf as well, and for all those who walk to God with us.
Sing it with me. A perfect outcome
walk to God
to all things is assured. A perfect outcome to all things is assured. I'm getting stronger every day because my faith leads the way. A perfect outcome to all things is assured. A perfect outcome to all things.
Bring it home. Bring it home. Let's give it all you got. All you got.
Is assured.
Wee doggy.
That's it. We need a wee doggies at the end, don't we? It's not a show without a wee doggies. It's not a program without a wee doggies. Yolanda says it all the time. She goes, "We don't do a show. It's not a show. It's a program." I keep, well, I'm really, really grateful to this community, and today was no exception. I just feel like we just we all get together, we all sleep on it, and we decide what we're all going to talk about the next day. We're all just like fall into place. We're all doing exactly the same thing. We're talking about the same thing. And I'm going to do that again today. We're going to talk about the remedy for what stories we tell in our head. It's like, what are we letting go of, and who's the ego, how it kind of is little ways in which we manufacture it by rote, and that we kind of think are like useful, maybe good things, that we kind of invest a little bit too much of our self in them. Like selfing a good idea isn't really helpful. It makes us suffer when we put our loving attention in things. When we got to have a thing, we got to be a thing or look a thing, or things have to be shaped a certain way. If you've ever battled your weight, you know exactly what I'm talking about, how in order to be happy, things must be shaped a certain way, So with that in mind, we are, I should say, Yolanda is at an event tonight so she may burst in here at any, at any moment. She was doing with you've seen her page. She was doing a benefit at a club, and so it's really, really lovely. She'll tell you all about it when she gets here. But if you're paying attention, that's 12.8 pages a week in A Course in Miracles. You will read the Course in Miracles in a year. And if you do that, and you're working, and I know you're all good course students, so you work with the Course in Miracles, and we're on, what lesson are we on today? Lesson 190. Lesson 190 is I choose the joy of God instead of pain. And we were talking about this, the joy of God's already here. It's not something that like we're manufacturing, right? So it's like I'm going to choose reality instead of manufacture one in which I'm in pain. I have to manufacture the one that's in pain. That's just a really interesting. It's like, oh shoot, I just that's a really easy thing to do because I keep creating Glen because the world says that that's what's the deal. That's what being alive and that's what awareness is. But Glen happens all by itself. I'm not doing any of this now anymore. But I'm not it. But when I try to be a thing, bad things happen to it. You know, when I tried to take care of this and make this the primary thing, I get in my own way. And I end up not choosing joy. I choose to control the thing, right? What do we keep learning? I keep wanting to remember. I do much better job in the back seat, or in like a or in the carriage, in the little baby carriage. I like to think of Glen, myself, as in the backpack that my dad used to hang around in, like a toddler. Like Glen's the toddler that rides along, but he does not make any of the decisions. Although he keeps trying to climb back up and, determine where I'm going to go or what we're going to do or things like that. So that's where I am with all of this. And this lesson's really, really good. I choose the joy of God instead of pain. Yesterday's was, I feel the love of God within me now. And that's where I'm always reminded again and again and again, the perspective of A Course in Miracles, who exactly they're talking to. They're talking to the part of us that doesn't really believe it. And so her very sensory language is a real tell toward who and where we think and where our attention actually is. It's on our bodies, right? It's on our bodies, it's on the things, it's on what's happening before us. So that's when she goes, you can actually, if you're paying attention, there's actually a feeling sense to this. There's an awareness happening in the world that is actually beyond and before the feeling that you're looking for. There's presence even before the feeling gets here, that the feeling is the result of. So she's even talking you through to get you to this moment before the feeling happens. And then you're like, oh, I'm doing it. I'm actually, but if you get on the other side of this, you realize, oh, I'm doing it. And the I is an us, and it's a big we thing. And it's comfortable. And Glen doesn't have to be created, and I don't have to make things happen. But it's a feeling, and it's so good. Aren't you? And it's like, oh, I get to be a body, and it's not a bad thing. It's not something I have to battle. And it begins to take care of itself. It's been the most interesting journey. I'm glad we get to do it together. Really interesting journey. But that's why I keep, that's why Course in Miracles keeps working for me. It keeps working for me because it keeps waking me up to one more deeper moment. It keeps waking me up to one more understanding in which I think I'm still running the show. I think I'm still creating, I'm not even creating Glen, these likes and dislikes and preferences and not preferences and things like that. It's very interesting and relieving. And so the theme I'm going to be talking about tonight is forgiveness and its relationship to the past. So who could you forgive if you could change your relationship to the past? Would forgiveness be something that was easier, felt more natural if you could change your understanding, your relationship with the past and what it was for and what it's supposed to do? I'm going to talk a little bit about that tonight. But before that, I did the weirdest thing, and I've left my copy right there. Hold on. driving solo, it's a task. I'm telling you, I'm used part of a team, and it shows. You know, uh, and in that theme, and the theme that we've been working with today all day is this ability to look at what's here. You know, and that's a really this powerful tool, natural tool that we have to be here. And it's tied up in our the values, and it's tied up into who we, you know, the course like reminds us all the time who we think we are, and who we think we are is often tied very directly into what we value, and so what our desires are. So you can really tell on yourself about the stories you tell, about the values that it has in them, the values that your stories tell. So that to be onto yourself, to whenever the story begins, what value are you telling? What world are you, or do we keep constructing? And to keep in what I found out about myself was how I was talking, we were talking about this earlier today. The what was those the things that were goes Glen's safety, Glen's reputation, Glen's desire for pleasure, the Glen's need to correct the past, and the need to secure a specific future. It's like, oh, I I I want to give up that guy. That sounds like a lot. That sounds like a lot of work. Doesn't that sound like a more than a full-time job? You know, it's like I don't think I have the resume for that. I just looks like beyond my, you know. I want it to. I don't. I want to stop worrying about it. I want this to stop being my task in the life, to finish the narrative of some good story. You know, Glen's good story, and to realize that I've been, you know, all about my own, you know, I don't know, my own safety, avoiding pain and everything. Look, it's like it's perfectly logical, it's perfectly reasonable, you know. But then to begin to, because of this community and what we do together, to be on the other side of disinvesting of myself from the performance, it's like, oh God, the relief is enormous. But it's certainly new, and this active or newish is, so this, I'm glad we're talking a lot about purification, you know, so you can really, this idea of purification is a real dead-on stare at your driving desire, isn't it? It's like, oh, I'm not going to look away of what I'm really doing. I'm not going to, whatever it is, I'm not going to, you know, say no or yes, or you know, like we're going to do now in the loving all meditation, is to practice put it into consciousness. I am going to be here for what is, as best I can, you know, with whatever, you know, whatever else is going on. I'm going to give myself a break. What I like and what I don't like, that's not what it's about. We're not organizing or creating hierarchies or analyzing. We're what is here. Was, you know, can I bear it? Can I bear to be me in this space? Can I bear to exist with all of this? Turns out that we're learning we can. So let's consciously practice. So ring the bell 3 times. And the last I'll make an Om. I'll give my version, but the best imitation I can of Yolanda's loving all meditation. And I got a video I'd like you to listen to. We take this moment in presence and living awareness to say, I'm the light I seek. What I need is here. I have all the tools necessary to step forward and into a greater and greater peace. I allow all to be in my presence. Things I like and things I do not like. Everything in my presence is allowed because I am great. I am that presence. As I sink into that knowledge and that knowing, there is joy in allowing and peace in knowing that all is well and I'm not in charge. And that is peace. Got a video for you. And so it is, as Yolanda says, and or as say in Battlestar Galactica, so say we all, right?
Imagine a world of divine inspiration where we all play a part in creation. This is that world. You are the one who makes hell or heaven. You are what your driving desire is. As your desire is, so is your will. As your will is, so is your deed. As your deed is, so is your destiny. You are what your driving desire is. As your desire is, so is your will. As your will is, so is your deed. As your deed is, so is your destiny.
That's our, that's our place. And Yolanda's being her big, beautiful butterfly self, and to know yourself, to know reality, to know Brahma, is to know it all, and that is to know what you need to know when you need to know it. Apparently, right? If you're following along, you find yourself on chapter 17. Read those 12.8 pages a week. Chapter 17 is called Forgiveness and the Holy Relationship. And we're going to look at section 3. This is the chapter that comes right before we begin to really look at what is ours to do in the world. And this happens in every single journey. This is the chapter I call the temptation to quit. Like, this is enough. I've seen enough. I've done enough. I have, it's through. It's over. I've had one realization, or I've had one understanding, or I'm done. I'm finished. Or this is too hard. Right? All the reasons that we don't practice, right? All the reasons in which we invest back in the world and get tempted, the squirrels that keep us back, my squirrels, my word, to go keep us chasing whatever's in the world, that those 5 things that makes Glen safe and an important person and a good person, and all those things, keeps constructing that and making and monitoring it, so what do we do? That's the desire to quit hinges on our relationship with the past. And in this chapter, section 3 is called Shadows of the Past. And I didn't ask anybody to read with me because I was sure that Yolanda was going to be here. I was sure. So I'm gonna read this to you. And I'll tell you what. Let's do it this way. So this is what I'm looking at. So the image I had for today is this image of a shadow man, and this is the image we have. This is the best we can do for how accurately we see ourselves and see others when we rely on the ego's judgment and the ego's view of things. That's the best we can see. That idea. So this is what I highlighted. To forgive is merely to remember only the loving thoughts you gave in the past. Forgiveness is selective remembering. Isn't that interesting? The shadow figures are the witnesses you bring with you to demonstrate what he did not. Because you bring them, you will hear them. They speak so clearly for the separation that is not obsessed with keeping separation. Keeping separation could hear them. So yet they speak so clearly for the separation that no one not obsessed. See, obsessed. Now, obsessed. That's ringing bells for me. With keeping separation could hear them. It is these shadow figures that would make the ego holy in your sight to teach you you do keep it safe is really love. Whatever reminds you of your past grievances attracts you. And if you haven't already begun to see yourself in this, I hope. I see myself. Whatever reminds you of your past grievances attracts you and seems to go by the name of love, no matter how distorted the associations by which you arrive at the connections may be. That bodies are central to all unholy relationships is evident. Your own experience has taught you this. But what you may not realize are all the reasons that go to make up the relationship unholy. Isn't that interesting? The shadow figures versus the slaves of vengeance, right? So this forgiveness is remembering only the thoughts from the past. Because we can do that if we let the Holy Spirit remember them. If we give our memory, give that selective memory, let that selective memory be what the Holy Spirit remembers. So it's like letting even go of our own memories. That sounds great. Do you want to let go of all of your memories? And let somebody else sort them out and handle them and deliver them to when they were needed? And you didn't have to manage them and what to do about what, and don't you remember this? And wouldn't you love to just like give all of your memories to somebody who could use them for your betterment? Doesn't that sound like a really fantastic idea? Eternal sunshine of the spotlight. Yeah. That's what the Holy Spirit is offering. He goes, you don't even have to manage your own memories. You even want to manage your memories. See the little things. I think, oh no, I can manage this. No. They're my memories. I can manage this little bit of my head. Can't I manage just this little bit of my head? No, because we invest identity into it. And when we invest identity into it, we cause pain and suffering for ourselves and the world. So we can look at that. Remember only the loving thoughts from the past. And so otherwise, we create these shadowy figures that are immortal because they weren't created so they don't die. They're just these shadowy figures. They can't be pierced, and nothing happens to them. They're because they're made up out of nothing. Enemies of reality. They speak in vengeance, and we keep making them. We keep creating them because we're obsessed with the separation. Well, we're obsessed with the narrative of wrongdoing. We're obsessed with the narrative of vengeance. We're obsessed with correcting the past. We're obsessed with making things right. We're obsessed with a judgment and a hierarchy of way things should be, and an evaluation and a perspective that we have no credentials for. And it's all based on getting Glen happy, getting Glen fed, all it's upside down. And you keep realizing that no matter where you poke, at it, you keep coming up with this, oh, I'm doing it again. So we can let go of it. I don't even have to manage that. It's good news. So, the next part. The unholy relationship is not, there we go. In the unholy relationship, it is not it is not the body of the other which with union is attempted, but the bodies of those who are not there. There's the past again. Every step taken in the making of this, and maintaining and the breaking off of the unholy relationship is a move toward further fragmentation and unreality. The shadowy figures enter more and more, and the one in whom they seem to be decreases in importance. This is how we construct these things. The ideal of the unholy relationship thus becomes one in which reality of the other does not enter at all into spoiling the dream. I'm going to tell you all about this. In this last bit, she resolves it this way. How can the Holy Spirit bring his interpretation of the body as a means of communication into relationships whose only purpose is separation from reality? What forgiveness is enables him to do so. No longer does the past conflict him now. See this, we gave him the memory, now it's being used for our benefit. This continuity extends the present by increasing its reality and its value in your perception of it. See, this bodily feeling in these loving thoughts is the spark of beauty again here, a beauty hidden in the ugliness of the unholy relationship. The unholy relationship, I call it the unholy relationship and the spark of beauty. So the unholy relationships are bodies joined together in bliss, right? Isn't that like she contrasts this later with a wedding vow. She contrasts this in the same lesson with changing our perception of what even this learning device is for. We can even look at how this learning device and what we expect out of it, and how it is to, and how it could be used for the thing that we say that we want, this bliss, give over even what we think this learning device is supposed to do and look like and stuff. The unholy relationship and the spark of beauty. So unholy relationship is bodies joined together in bliss from a made-up past, and it's in order to correct a fantasy about the past to make a fantasy in the future. Who gets in a relationship? Who's tried to get in a relationship like that? I have tried to create relationships out of that idea, to correct the relationship of the past and have a better time in the future or something like that. The request here is to be present without any story, without me needing to be fixed and without you needing to be fixed or anything need to be fixed. Can I be present to notice what is here without a story, without bringing the past that has to be corrected, or that you're in charge of correcting, because I could certainly make you in charge of making me better, Have you ever been in charge of making someone better? Have you ever been someone's project? Both of those things is like, oh my God, it just depends. So you catch yourself in the ways in which we think we're constructing it. So you've given up your memory, and now she's saying, yeah, that learning device that you think is you, give that up too. Give this learning device and how I learn and everything. What? Give up all my senses and that's a lot of me there, how I feel and what I think and all my preferences and stuff like that. That's a lot of me to be, asking to put on the table, Jesus. It's a lot, isn't it? You know why? But you know why she uses all this sensual language to tell you about it. She goes, you think you want bliss, but you're not going to get it. The way that you get what you want is to let go and let somebody else do this. If you're honest about what you value and what you want, even that is going to lead you to this moment, to this present, to this alive awareness. Because this is the only thing that satisfies. No matter what you think your idea of what a bliss is still located and centered in this idea of a body getting it. Like I was saying before, to be present before the feeling. That's what she's trying to get us to. And she calls this a relationship, this spark. We see this spark of beauty. The result is, if we're able to be present without a story, is that we'll see this spark of beauty in ourselves and in all things. Namaste. And she says that this corrects our perception of the separation. We no longer are acting as a single entity out here, Dukes up and, ready to make my way in the world. Grab my bootstraps and make it anywhere. Who is this? It's being created. This spark of beauty we find in ourselves, this spark of beauty that's only found in this present moment. This namaste that can be found in all beings corrects this perception of separation. So she continues. The ego seeks to resolve its problems, not at the source, but where they were not made. And thus it seeks to guarantee there will be no solution. The Holy Spirit wants only to make his resolutions complete and perfect, and so he seeks and finds the source of the problems where it is, and there undoes it. Let him uncover the hidden spark of beauty in your relationships and show it to you. Its loveliness will so attract you that you will be unwilling ever to lose sight of it again. And you will let this spark transform the relationship so you can see it more and more. How about that? We're in a relationship. Like Hindu mythology has this idea of Indra's web. Are you familiar with Indra's web? This dew web, in each dewdrop reflects all the other dewdrops. So all the other dewdrops are all the other dewdrops that are doing all the other dewdrops. It's because it's all one. It's Indra's web. So that's kind of the idea. The hidden spark of beauty in relationships. Everything is a relationship. I only know who you are by what I feel like when you're here. I only know what anything is by this relationship to the different combinations of the presences that are around. That's what I call me, and that's everyone. That's everyone. That's it. As far as I know, I haven't been able to find anything else or being shown anything else. There isn't separation. It's just that's what she's pointing to. The hidden spark of beauty in relationships. Whatever we think the problem, the answer is always be here now. It'll transform the relationship. It transforms a relationship. And she says it attracts loveliness. How about that? You want to, if you've ever, notice that people that are really, really, really present, you can't take their eyes off them. You can't take your eyes, like good actors and actresses, children, pets, right? They just they're just looking, you can't take your eyes off them. That attracts loveliness. That's what your presence is. You find God looking back at you when you're God looking out. You attract loveliness. We're always attracting loveliness, but to consciously attract loveliness, that'd be something to try out, wouldn't it? To consciously be present and saying, like, I am bliss, I am beautiful, I'm attracting loveliness. Maybe something to do. So the request here is to learn and seek to establish the conditions where it can be seen. Sounds pretty reasonable. How do you connect your life? What do you do? What are your routines? Is this serious? Don't quit. See? So it's like, what are you doing? I know there's all this temptation to do something else and everything, but look, there is an off the path. I hate to break it to you. There's on the path, and then there's a sleeping. There's no off the path, or there's on the path and there's dreaming, or whatever we're doing. So there's presence, and that's all that is. So to choose again and again where we think there's something better to do, in this squirrel world. Well, I don't know. Glen needs to get out here and maintain. I do need a haircut. I don't say anything. I do need a haircut, and I know that. But I just putting it off going to the barber. I just buried my cat, so we got the cat. We got the cat back from the funeral yesterday, and so we did a whole nother round of blubbering, which is so don't look. It's like, don't look away. Do I not want to live? Do I not want awareness? I'm good. Then I'm going to be here for it. Then I'm going to be here for tears or blubbering or anger or what I don't like. I'm going to be here for that too. Maybe kind of keep my eyes a little bit opener with the things maybe that I don't like, and take my story away from them. See, there's the past. What I don't like is a past story that I tell about it. If I don't like it, it means that I'm a story about it. It means I've left the building. I've stopped. I've started dreaming again. Well, learn and seek to establish the conditions where beauty, where truth, where peace can be seen. And seen by you. It isn't it isn't seen by the world. It's so you can recognize that the thing that works best for you, right? So it's if it's yoga or nisargadatta or whatever it is, I think it was Earl Purdy goes, yeah, when the Course of Miracles is your path, you know it. It's because you'll do it. That's how you know Course of Miracles is your path, because you end up doing it. Pay attention. Pay attention. Be with what we're doing, and that's why this group is so good for me. So she continues. We'll establish the conditions of a good relationship, and you will attract loveliness. Gotta love that. Whom God has joined as one, the ego cannot put asunder. Now here's the matching bliss. I said the body joining part. This is the other half of that, the flip side of the contrast that Course in Miracles loves to do. Whom God has joined as one, the ego cannot put asunder. The spark of holiness must be safe, however hidden it may be in every relationship. For the creator of the one relationship has left no part of it without himself. Give the past to him who can change your mind about it for you. All right. But first, be sure you fully realize that you have made the past to represent what you have made the past represent and why. The past becomes the justification for entering into a continuing unholy alliance with the ego against the present. For the present is forgiveness. Really, really like standard, straightforward, great advice there, I think. And so you got it, the one relationship and the spark of holiness. So you did get the marriage vow reference there, didn't you? You clearly got Matthew 19:6. Matthew 19:6. Therefore they that no more twain but one flesh, what therefore God has joined together, may no man put asunder. When it's the end of the wedding. It's the end of the wedding vows. And we add, you may kiss the bride. So she's just a real union. Right? A real conscious union versus this joining of bodies for bliss. So that's what she's contrasting. So she goes, you think that this is the thing that's just going to satisfy you, and even that won't even be good without this. Even that thing that you say that you want can't be had the way that you want it, think you want it, but through this. Lovely contrast there. So the request is, what have you made the past to represent? To tell a victim story, maybe. To keep telling the woe is me, to keep making sure everybody knows that it sucks to be me. I've got a few friends who love to tell. They don't do that so much anymore. But I've had friends who are on the mission to remind me about how awful their lives are. It's even a stock character on sitcoms, right? What have you made the past to represent? See, that's why you need to give it to the Holy Spirit. That's why you shouldn't be in charge of it. Because you want the past to represent real stuff and not stuff that we made up. You want the past and the memory to be useful to you and not painful. Right? I do. Use everything. Today's the day when I throw it all away. When I let go, and I'm not going to be in charge. I'm going to let the present. I'm going to let being here and the decisions and stuff and the real bliss that comes up be in charge, and not me correcting some story from the past, or me needing you to carry this story for me, or needing the world to carry this story, right? If you don't tell the story that I tell about myself, I'm going to be mad at you. right? We do it all the time, though. We do it absolutely all the time. It's the world we construct, and it's about the person that we call us and me. That's the person we take care of more than we take care of anything. That's what I'm finding out. And I'm shocked at how much of my day is spent on this guy. Shocked. But I'm also shocked at how much easier it is to let go. Because there's relief there. There's sensory, oh, this is better. This is better. This is like less stressful. Less stress. This is more calm, cool, and collected. I like this performance better. Even see where this is going. Even where I think it's better for me, I make poor choices. But by letting it be, I make better choices. Because the me is a relationship. That is this present, divine, living moment that contains everything that it is, whether I have a living bodily proof perception of its sensory understanding or not. Come to find out what I'm learning. So she continues. It's still up to you to choose to join with truth or with illusion. See how I just love the ethics of A Course in Miracles. She's just like, no pressure, though. It's still up to you to choose to join with the truth or with illusion. But remember that to choose one is to let the other go. Which one you choose will endow with beauty and reality, because the choice depends on which you value more. The spark of beauty or the veil of ugliness, the real world or the world of guilt and fear, truth or illusion, freedom or slavery, it's all the same. For you can never choose except between God and the ego. Thought systems are but true or false, and all their attributes are simply from what they are. My holy brother, my holy brother, I would enter all your relationships and step between you and your fantasies. Sounds like a good big brother. Let my relationship to you be real. Let my relationship to you be real to you, and let me bring reality to your perception of your brothers. They were not created to enable you to hurt yourself through them. They were created to create with you. Let not the holy purpose of the atonement be lost to you in dreams of vengeance. Those look like really simple choices, don't they? Don't we all think we can choose between good and evil? Values and creation. The choice is yours. So she says it's truth or illusion. The spark of beauty or the veil of ugliness. See, this one of those languages is alive, and one is decaying. The real world versus the world of guilt and fear. Even guilt and fear are shadows, or can't. The real world, not here. And it's freedom or slavery. Those are pretty strong terms. Freedom or slavery. Because there's slavery to your story, slavery to the narrative. Right? Remember last week she goes, it's about, I choose not to be my own jailer. Remember the last week's the Lord's prayer from last week? I choose not to, I don't have to be jail my enemies or become my own jailer unless, I want to. It's like, because I'm making the choice. It's always my narrative. It's the narrative. It's the story. It's the thing I say that it's me that it's happening to. Something should be done. That's the suffering. And to see how I construct that again and again and again has been really helpful. The course is the way she talks about it. The real world versus the world of guilt and fear. These guilt and fear has a story. Slavery, God, or the ego. So the request is to let me step between you and your fantasies. Like a superhero, or a big brother, or somebody who knows better, you know? Or somebody steps in and goes, over my dead body, you know? It's like your champion, right? We can do that. That's who we are. That's what looking at your fear allows us to become. A champion of reality and what is real, and a very, very lovely an attractor of loveliness. So this is what I wrote. To create a narrative, we need a past and a future. We need characters and a plot and a lesson to be learned. Forgiveness is letting go of all of that. It's letting go of keeping score, of monitoring bodies through space. We are spending our precious attention on correcting the story in our head instead of being present to the holy spark of God that is right before us in each and every one of our relationships. It's always the imaginative story of bodies and social hierarchies and resources and meaning making. Vengeance. This is not the best use of our precious life and our awareness. The project becomes to trust in the present, to transform our relationships into the creative force that we know that they always have been, but we've been too blind to see. We drop the narrative of how everything should be and become present to what is. And we see how we're creating suffering by trying to correct what isn't there. And what happens is we realize that we are finally home. Home, here, now, where everything's great and the perfect outcome is assured in all things. Home. So, we've got a few minutes.
Do you want to know the place that's always green? Do you want to see the things we seldom see? Do you want to hear the things we barely hear? Well, I found my way there, and I can take you there. I can take you there. Home is the place that never changes. It's the love inside yourself that never changes. Home is the place that never changes. And I wanna know? The way of time and space, and do you need a place that nothing can erase? And do you need to be through eternity? Well, I found my way there, and I can take you there. I can take you there. Home is the place that never changes. It's the love inside yourself that never changes. Home is the place that never changes. And I found my way home. Home, home. Never changes. It's the love inside yourself that never changes. And I found my way home. I found my way home.
Thank you for being with us this evening. I'm Reverend Glen Ganaway, your favorite anarchist preacher, and I'm usually here with the love of my life, the Reverend Yolanda. Maybe she's still destined to show up. We don't even know. Thank you for being with me.